Well, hello, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Chuggy's Funhouse. And we do here is horror movie reviews and video game reviews as well. And today we are going to talk about the Halloween franchise. But we're going to start by talking about the original Halloween 1 from the 1978. And of course, everybody knows this movie as the one that launched Jamie Lee Curtis's career, but it also launched Donald Pleasance's career, and John Carpenter. Very good film. So the movie starts off with a really good POV shot, and we get to see somebody walking in the kitchen, taking a butcher knife, walking upstairs, going up there, and somebody starts stabbing their sister repeatedly. And then it's revealed that it's actually a little boy, which really shocked audiences back then, was a big deal. And from there you get to see evolution of your fear, your terror. It just keeps rising and rising and rising throughout the whole movie as Michael terrorizes Linda and Annie and Laurie. It's very good in every way, shape, or form. They just keep going and going and going. The pace is perfect. They build up each character. You get to see character development, especially Linda and Laurie have conversations about the prom and everything they need to do, and how Laurie has nothing to do and she forgot her chemistry book. And then you go from there, you bring in Annie, which sets up how promiscuous she is because she was in the boys' locker room. And then they start walking down the road, having conversation, and Laurie, Linda, and Annie go back and forth, and you really get to just figure out what their personalities are, and how Laurie is really very pristine, simplistic. Very good way to build up three characters, because essentially this horror movie has three, maybe four characters. You have Sheriff Brackett in here too, who has a lot of good scenes with Loomis. And then you have the boyfriend of Linda, and you have the two kids. So you really don't have a lot of characters there, but they develop every character well. Well, except for Linda's boyfriend, who you don't see him much, but he does have a really cool death scene where he actually gets pinned to the wall, which is really cool because it shows the Michael Myers head tilt scene, which is the first time you ever see this, and it becomes a trademark of a lot of serial killers and slasher killers, whether it be Jason Voorhees or all the low-level killers that you see in a lot of the 80s slashers that came because of this film. This film was a launching pad for all slashers. Even Friday the 13th was essentially Halloween redone, but we'll talk about that at a different time. So the movie kicks off where Loomis goes to get Michael because he needs to transport him because he has a court appearance coming up. But there's rain, they're driving down, they're having a little conversation, and then they end up, there's patients everywhere and they don't know what's going on. Loomis gets out of the car, and then Michael jumps on top, breaks in the car essentially, and steals it, and drives to Haddonfield. Now my only problem with that is he's been comatose for like 15 years is the storyline, and with him being comatose, how would he be able to drive a car? One of my very few complaints about the movie, but that is a complaint. Why would he know how to drive? All that. But then throughout the movie, like, you get to see Sheriff Brackett and Loomis interact, and then Brackett doesn't believe Michael Myers is even in Haddonfield, but then the bodies start to happen, and there's really big issues. But the girl that Annie's taking care of kind of seems like a little brat to me. It's a little pet peeve. She's a really annoying little kid, and I couldn't care less if Michael actually killed her. But you have the little boy that Laurie's taking care of is so he's a comic book kid, he's really into things, and he's really scared about the boogeyman because he was picked on at school in one of the scenes earlier. But then when it starts to pick up, after Michael spent time stalking them, and there's a cool scene like Michael going outside of a bush and then slowly going back in, and then he disappears, playing mind games, head games with all the characters. But when he starts taking everybody out, when they start doing the great lighting shots and the music, and when you hear that John Carpenter score, you know Michael's near. Like when Annie is going to go see Paul, Michael is in the back of the car, and the scene is so cool, it's so lit, and as he chokes her and she breathes, the air just pops on the screen, and it fogs up, and you can barely see what's happening, but Michael kills her. Very cool scene. Another one would be, we already talked about Linda's boyfriend's scene, but Linda, Michael walks up with a bedsheet on, with the glasses, ha ha ha, joking. She pulls out her top, one of the only boob shots in the movie, besides the one in the beginning, and really, she calls Laurie, her and Laurie are talking on the phone, and then Michael starts choking her, and Laurie is wondering what's going on. She goes over to the Myers house, and that's when Michael has all these pranks set up, and Michael starts attacking her, and there's a lot of symbolism scenes, like Linda's body spread out with Judith's headstone on top. Very cool. But then they start going back and forth, and Laurie's trying to get away from Michael. She runs over to the house and pounds on the door, and the kids wake up, and she goes over there, and then it's like cat and mouse, back and forth. Michael and Laurie going at it, and then at one point Laurie is, and this is my favorite scene in the whole movie, Laurie is in the closet, Michael bursts through the closet trying to pull on the light to try and turn the light on, and Laurie takes a metal hanger which fell down and stabs him right in the eye. He drops the butcher knife, and she stabs Michael. Michael falls to the ground, and after he falls to the ground, then he sits up, and then he stabs Laurie in the arm. We get to see them go back and forth, and as the kids go out screaming, Dr. Loomis runs upstairs. And this is where you get to see Michael choking Laurie. Laurie pulls up his mask, and he shuffles back a little bit, but you get to see his face for like 5 seconds. The only weird thing is one of his eyelids is like rolled up, which is funny. Loomis empties a whole clip, well, about 6 bullets into Michael, and he goes up top and he falls, and you can see Laurie and Loomis go back and forth, and the whole line where Laurie says, "Was that the boogeyman?" And then Loomis goes, "As a matter of fact, I think it was." It was a really cool line. Might have got it a little jumbled right there, but I apologize to any hardcore Halloween fans. And Michael falls to the ground, and then Loomis goes to look. He goes back to like 2 minutes later, and he's gone. And then after that, you see all the areas that Michael's been in. Really cool shots with music. Boom, 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 seeing everything. And a lot of people, and you got the heavy breathing at the end of the movie, which then goes into Mr. Sandman, which is a very cool way to end that movie. The movie's very good stylized, very good shot. Character acting is phenomenal. Writing is good. There's a couple cheesy lines here and there. I really enjoy it. I've always enjoyed this movie. I watch it every year for Halloween. And don't forget that I'm going to continue doing this, and I am going to also do another video where I'm going to talk about continuing on, and the next part will be Halloween 2. I will go in depth talking about Halloween 2. So, this is Chucky signing off, and I will see you next time on Chucky's Funhouse.